And a warm welcome to you because it's bloody freezing over here. And hey, it's the normal playing guy. And wow, look at this board. Look how many easy A's are on this. We have 8 easy A's. Demon God Deborah, Super Mirror, Dark Mask King, Black Max Saiyan, whatever this guy is called, Broly, Vegito, Demigra, and Demon Ghost Tois. So we're going to check out these. By God, there's 8 of these fellas. This is pretty mental. Okay, we're going to start with these 4. We'll do another video on the other 4, because boy, this will take a while. 8 easy A's, 30 stones plus your missions. Quite a lot of Kais needed. You do get a few throughout the missions, but sure. Okay, so Demigra in the Makyuka form, whatever. So, extreme physical is going to be 130%, so interesting. So that's pretty good for Battlefield. 130 is pretty respectable. So, 140% stats, okay, you get 70% on super attack. Your super attack effect greatly raises for the turn. So, pretty respectable in terms of defense. 55% comes in at 8,200, so max appears to be 10,000, nearly 11,000. Attack is a rather respectable 14.3, goes to 17.3. So with one dupe goes to a modest 9.5 and 60. Dude, actually, he's pretty powerful in terms of attack, right? That's coming out with just over 16,000 with a dupe and 14,000 there. It's pretty respectable. Could be worth putting some resources in. So extreme class allies, 4 key 40% defense. So we're not even talking extreme class on crossover or heroes. It's just extreme class allies. That's ridiculous. All enemies minus 30% attack, which is pretty powerful. Do you know how powerful that is for extreme physical? So you're rocking him as a lead in Battlefield. All the sins and omegas, they also passively lower by like 15, 20, even up to 30%. So think about the Shadow Dragon lead, who passively lowers by like 25%. And I'm pretty sure there's a Sin who lowers it by 15. Dude, actually being able to nerf the enemy's attack by this, you'd be immortal in Battlefield. Whilst giving 4 key 40%, that would essentially cover any because he isn't going to link fairly well with any extreme physical. I mean, no, he isn't. Period. Yeah, you could arguably use this guy, but that could really help fill in the link, which is going to be absolutely insane. So that's a really good bridge for Battlefield. You get an additional 20% attack per crossover on the team. Here we go. But this is really good. So rather than being the same, you just get 10% defense per extreme class ally on the team. So you can have 60% defense. So yeah, because it would include the guest. So you'd have 140%, it goes to 210, and then you get 280%. Pretty respectable if you have him at Rainbow or even at this kind of deal. But this is really, really well built. Because you look at his links, Brainiac's Revival, Fear of, like Master of Magic, Demonic Power is probably the only reason why you're seeing like Boo and whoever the hell, I think that's Demigrab or whoever the hell that is. But like, yeah, there are a few people who that works well with when it comes to crossover and heroes. So yeah, so that's probably the reason why they have it in. But like, Godly Power is a bit weird. Brainiac and it's going to be a bit weird. So fitting them in, yes, but this is a fantastic way of bridging the gap. And this, I like how this is just extreme class ally. Honestly, in Battlefield, he's going to be a linchpin. 130% 3 key. This, whilst giving this, it's pretty bonkers. So yeah, with start of turn stats, so he has no key in himself, but something tells me he's not going to strictly need it too much. You are going to struggle for key yourself to get this additional defense, but where applicable, this might just save you. That being said, Master of Magic, Demonic Power, Brainiac's Revival, which alone is 2 key. Shattering the Limit is 2 key, so that might just save you. Godly Power and Fear and Faith also has 2 key. So we check this guy who is Mechikabura. So we do have Revival and we do have Shattering the Limit, so that's fine. Checking out Extreme Physical, we do have Shattering the Limit. Checking out Extreme Physical, Shattering the Limit, so that's pretty good. Also Brainiacs, and of course Fat Boo, Shattering the Limit. All of these are Extreme Class Physical. Yeah, oh, of course. Imagine giving this guy four key 40% defense. That's pretty nuts. So there is a few people you can link up with, but honestly, key will be an issue, but he's going to be brilliant in a very specific scenario, so he could be good. Very low key, but sure. Realm of Gods, now I'm not no, you wouldn't use him on this. Resurrected Warriors, maybe. Time Travelers, yeah, because most heroes and crossovers are indeed time travelers. Storied figures, maybe. Crossover and heroes, of course. So these three, with a push of Resurrected Warriors, you could legitimately make that happen. That could be really good. Off the bat, then, this first EZA I'm looking at is pretty good. A fantastic support. So, how would you build this guy? You could go additional purely because you might struggle for key, and then there's this. Probably could go for dodge because if you're going to struggle for key, you could go for dodge to try and shore up a defense because it's the only true way of avoiding any attack. So that could be pretty good. So it might be a blend between them. I don't think crits at all will be any applicable to this guy because he doesn't have like on the Awakenings for Metal Cooler. Golden Metal Cooler and Evil Janemba or whatever, they have like 480% attack or 440% attack, but that's because their stats are piss. So, much like this guy, coming in at 55%, arguably it's actually better. It is an easy A, I suppose. Anyway, I like this. So, firstly, that's done well. So, the next one, he's a big one, and this is Broly. Ooh, big boy. Giant 8 power, 150%. Ooh, this guy, he loves shoulder day. And the new Super Saiyan 4 Broly, the Int one, boy, does he have big shoulders. Big, broad chest shoulders. He's a meaty boy. It's no wonder he went toe-to-toe with Vegito Blue and Vegito 4, because, at the same time. So 150% when performing a super attack. Jesus. So he's got to go first. Your super attack effect, 50% to attack, which is pretty powerful. 30% defense, greatly lowers defense, so you can hit them harder. Coming in at 55%, 9.8 with a ridiculous 17,000 attack. Good God. The fact that he's getting 50, we're not even finished. We're only just started. He's getting greatly raised attack on 17, basically 17,500 attack. This is LR territory he's going to be hitting. I presume he's going to have a pretty decent link set, being as it's also Super Saiyan 4 kind of territory, as well as crossover. But dude, 69%. Look at this. This is like Turles. This is like 8th anniversary units. And this attack, this is ridiculous. If you have this guy, he's going to be a monster for like Giant 8 power, these two, and arguably Pure Saiyans if you can make a Giant 8 power version. The guy's going to be a monster. 2 key launches an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack when there is just one other Giant 8 power in the same turn, which is, yeah, I don't know if that guy will work. Jesus. You also launch an additional super attack, guaranteed super attack, when all allies in the same turn are Giant 8 power, which you arguably could very easily do. So this will proc, greatly raise attack. This can proc as well, which can greatly raise attack. Your hidden potential system, good God. Additional 30% to stats with each super attack before. Jesus Christ. He is a freak of nature. Super Saiyan 4 Broly alongside full power Super Saiyan 4 Broly. These dudes are going to be ridiculous. This guy already has the ability to do like 4 supers, each one multiplying his own super attack. And then this guy with LR kind of power, even at 55%, with each super, so we've basically put it this way. He has 150% on super, of which greatly raises attack. Each super is also giving him additional 30, right? And of course, you get 2 key he's going to hit insanely hard. I wouldn't be surprised at 55% the dude's putting out like 10 million. It just is. Like, let's lowball it and say 8 million, but it's just no denying. These are LR stats, and his defense is pretty respectable. He's pretty bonkers, there's just no doubt. And this is Giant 8 power, not so much crossover, which would mean then that he's far, far easy to get. I've always said Giant 8 power / GT Heroes is always my favourite team because it's so fun, they're so easy, and they're so fantastic to use. And they're just pound for pound probably the hardest hitting team. But you got like this guy, who's pretty bonkers, but all 7 links, oof. And then you've got stuff like, he worked best with the int Goku for this one, but it's saying raw, which is doing it because you get 10% defense, 25% attack, and prepare for battles, 2 key, 5% to stats. Fierce battle alone as well. Then you've got like Vegito, again, the new one, who is also, he is also, he's a triple lead, right? So it's Dragon Ball Heroes, but he's also 170% for Giant 8 power infused fighters with the additional for Heroes or crossover, whichever one it is, and he's on crossover. So he's basically a 200% team on this, whilst also being on Giant 8 power. Pretty ridiculous. The new Super Saiyan 4 Goku, whose banner is still up, by the way, not like he'd ever summoned on this banner, but again, rocking all of these links, in particular this and this, so you're getting 15% defense, 30% attack, and some key, 30% attack. On the fact that you get this is, oh my god, the dude's a freak of nature. Broly's as well, you can see it works out with. The new, well, I say new, the new Easy A Vegito. We all knew, I did a video on him, would he get his Easy A? Of course we will, because like this guy, because the new one came out, and we all knew this guy was going to get an Easy A, because we knew the dude was a new Broly. So when that happens, it's kind of obvious. There is that niggle of doubt, but it's also worth doing a video. So this dude, honestly, he might be the best video I've done to date because he is going to be so fun. It's all dependent because, so the only real issue is probably turn 1. What's his start of turn stats? It's because it's just going to be this because he only gets 2 key. That's all it is with additional allies. But it's until he builds up his super attack effect, until he does this, right? Because you have a guaranteed additional super attack on a full Giant 8 power team. But so you can build up pretty rapidly, but his start of turn stats might be a bit underwhelming. But dude, he's insane. Going to be absolutely amazing. Of course, the biggest hype of this one is, of course, Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. So, of course, his best unit is going to be absolutely this guy, who is going to help massively side by side. These two are phenomenal. Preliminary support, preliminary testing, this guy goes from doing about 2 million to 10 million. I kid you not, depending on how many dupes you've got, he sits on an average of 6 million to 10 million. Just wow. This, of course, is on a crossover in Heroes team, where he's probably at his best, mind you. So let's have a look. So he's now a crossover 3 key 180%. Now this guy gets special treatment because the last time we see 180% are Dokkenfest LRs who have had Easy A's, like LRAGL Gohan, the 3rd anniversary units, the Vegito Physical Gogeta. They're the ones that have this kind of special treatment. So it's nice to see this. Arguably, then, that would mean then he's actually better than the new Vegito, outside of the fact that he's a 200% for Heroes as well. So you get 180% with 60% on super attack. So coming in at 55%, the guy's rocking 8,500. And of course, he rocks 11,000 prior at maximum. We're talking LR stats again. The dude's got 18,500 attack. What the hell? And 21.5, Jesus. Coming in at 1%. Look, what the hell? This is insane. It's no wonder he's doing like 10 million or like 7 million at 55%. Because look at this. That's a ridiculous amount of attack with an easy 200% team. Right. Crossover allies, you get 1 key, 30% to stats. Giant Ape power allies, 1 key, 30% to stats. Okay, so Broly will be getting, so he's gonna get he's gonna get 2 key, but he's also gonna get 60% to stats. Broly and the other Broly, but this Broly is going to get 60% at the start of turn, alongside this, alongside this, alongside this. Good Lord. And this guy, he's doing like 7 to 10 million, depending on the amount that he does. What the hell? So reduces damage received by 5% per crossover or Giant Ape power. See, depending on which category has more members. So this is the second time we've seen this. The first was Dark King Fu or Dark God Fu, the new unit. They had, I can't remember what mechanic, oh no, it was like an STR orb changer, depending on who had the most. But this one's interesting. Of course, you could quite easily rock this, but who has the most category members? Dude, you could have 30% damage reduction. You could be 2 key 60% support for Giant Ape power. Wow, and a high chance of nullifying super attacks. So, okay, so he has a 50% chance to counter. So that's fine. Super Saiyan 4s often have that moniker. Some recent ones, like the recent LR, doesn't, which is a bit of a shame considering it's an LR, but, sure. This guy's pretty redonkulous. He could be a pretty respectable slot 1 unit with his damage reduction, but no. I'd say because he greatly raises defense for the turn, because then he gets 240% to stats plus that, then his damage reduction would kick in, then he's a fantastic unit. I'd say you would probably need a better slot 1 unit. But of course, I suppose if it's a super attack off the bat, he has a 50% chance to counter. That could be fine. Alongside this guy, so they share pretty decent, respectable ability because it's Giant Ape power, not just crossover, which makes them fantastic. We're talking stuff like Saiyan Raw. We're talking stuff like Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle. These are the ones that are going to be good. So, of course, you're going to get Fuse Fighter, which is why the Vegetos are in here. This guy's pretty respectable. He's pretty decent if you let him be. So there's no doubt he'll probably have an easy A next year. He works good with him. Of course, he's not a 200% team for this. Actually, he is, because these are a 200% for Kamehameha, so you could rock them for Fuse Fighters with the 200% for Kamehameha. So that's something. But yes, this guy could be pretty good, because this guy has the 70% chance to counter a super attack. Could be a good slot 1. We're getting stuff like Fuse Fighter, which is nice key and stats. Kamehameha, Super Saiyan, Fierce Battle, plenty of attack stats. Could even be this guy as well, because same sort of deal, right? But we're talking like Saiyan Raw, so, that could be a good one, which, like the Super Saiyan 4s in general would have it. He's good because it's Power Beyond. I can't strictly remember what his leader skill is. Oh no, it's like Battle of Fate, Future, and Power Beyond. But Power Beyond could be pretty good, because you're able to get him and you're able to get him on Patara, Fuse Fighters. You could really work well. So he could be a fantastic unit. If you have him from the Worldwide Download Celebration, or this guy from the current celebration, you could do pretty well with these. You could talk about him and Broly all day, but it's time to move on. We have Demon God Deborah. Interesting. So Heroes 150% 4 key. Nice. So 3 key 150% stats. Speaking of which, you enter the game with 7,800 with 11,000 attack. A pretty respectable 14,000 attack. 1 dupe takes you up to 15.7, basically 10,000 defense. Start of turn stats seem pretty respectable, especially if you have just 1 dupe. You get an additional 150%. Okay, additional 150%. Attacked enemies attack and defense minus 35% for 2 turns. And launch an additional attack. 50% chance to super when facing 1 enemy. Oof, 1 enemy, you're going to punish him. This for 2 turns is pretty good. You get an additional 150% attack when you're in attack or defense down. additional 50% attack, and reduce damage by 10% per existing enemy. Count starts from the third enemy. Oh, that's interesting. Maximum you can have is 5, so you can have maximum 30% damage reduction, 150% attack. Oh, that's rough. Plus an additional 100% attack, 200% defense, and 50% chance to dodge when facing 2 or more enemies. Okay, that makes more sense. So you have slightly higher stats against 2 or more enemies, but probably because you're against 2 enemies. So this guy seems, what's his super attack effect? Greatly raised defense, 50% chance to stun. This guy seems pretty decent. 3 key, 150%. So the 3 key helps cover up any shaft on the keyboard. So you get this against 1 enemy. Basically doubles the stats and this. But if you against 2 or more enemies, you still get this. Still get a decent amount of attack and defense. That's pretty good. The extra key comes in play, especially when you can greatly raise defense and 50% chance to stun. Loyalty, shocking speed, okay, and shattering the limit, pretty good. Master of Magic, Fear and Faith, Nightmare comes in handy for the relevant teams. So we have Time Travelers, Crossover, and Heroes. So, okay, fine. Who the hell is his sibling Bond? I really would love to know who the hell this guy's sibling Bond is. Okay, so Crossover, Terrifying Conquerors, maybe, Dragon Ball. Okay, so like these 3 in particular. So, yeah, you wouldn't run this guy. Maybe, because he's got like Master of Magic and Nightmare. Maybe. And they're Extreme AGL. Extreme AGL, sure, yeah. You can get Shattering the Limit. That's the most important thing. Fair enough. How is he going to work well with him? He's going to have Shattering the Limit there. And with this guy, he's going to have Shattering the Limit still. It's not a fantastic amount of people you're going to link up well with, is it? I mean, linked up with this guy could be good because he is an insane support and insane 4 key. So you could make a legitimate case there. That could be good. All of these seem pretty. I mean, like, they're all good. All of these are good. The only niggle to this guy, I'd say, is, well, there's 2. One, this is from the third enemy. But the most important part, I'd say, the worst thing is, how does he fit on a team? Crossover in Heroes, you're going to run extreme, but like the Bobbedy and the Deborahs and the Boos, they're not crossover. I mean, you're really going to struggle here. Yeah, this guy, but he's not especially brilliant. This guy could be a decent support. Yeah, okay, you could run him on the main team. God, he's good, but you just can't use him. I like how he's got like an ender eye in his sword. So, I mean, 50% chance to stun means that he could look after himself in some respects. I like him. I just can't see a use for him. I just can't see how you could use him because, like, all the these here, like all these extreme class units outside of like Rose, they do struggle to look after themselves because they just don't mix well together. So how would you build these guys? Okay, well, you could probably argue quite obviously to go with additionals to help with this. You could also go for dodge. He also has a decent amount of attack for crits, but honestly, you could go for additionals. Would be the main because it's stun. This guy, you could probably again go for additionals. He doesn't counter. He has a counter, but it's not a counter from normals or anything. So you could probably just say just full on additional. You could try a little bit of dodge. Broly, arguably you could go crit and dodge because he's going to hit hard and he's got additionals well and truly built in. So additionals would be pointless. It'd be fun to see him build up quick because this is 30% for the turn, so you can get that twice. But arguably you could go crit and dodge on this guy. You could even go full dodge because he's going to hit berserkly hard. I mean, additionals would be pointless. And this guy, you could go additionals as well. One, because he could struggle with key. And of course, you'd help maximize this. So additionals, crits, additionals, additionals. Okay, that's going to be it for this one because it's already gone on for 25 minutes. So I've got another 4 to do yet. Good God. But yeah, let me know what you think. I like these. So far, these 4 have been brilliant, and I'm well looking forward to utilising these. So, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all on the next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.